Yo, what's up? And welcome to episode 61 of Throwback Hoops. My name is Rob Clayton, and joining me once again is Woody V. How's it going, mate? How's the trip?
The trip was great, Robbie. It's good to be back. Great episode to see the Claytons team up last week. I was listening to it in my hotel room in India and put a smile to my face, man. So it's good to be back in the chair.
Good to hear. And just like how I mentioned at the start, if anyone was playing Where's Woody, should I say?
Yeah.
I
heard that. I think I put up a picture of myself on Twitter in reply to when you posted the episode, right? So if people
Nice.
wanted to find me,
how was the trip? Everything went well?
Yeah, it was great, man. Ate everything there. You know, they say when you go to India, or those kind of countries, be a bit careful what you eat. And I suffered a little bit for it, but all good, man.
Rumors that you may have got some Delhi belly.
Definitely in Delhi as well, bro. Yeah,
no.
We won't get into that, but yeah.
Nice. Well, good to hear you made it back safely, mate. So,
thanks.
All right. Well, just before we get into it, just a reminder where to find us. Please make sure you like, rate, and subscribe on YouTube, or if you're listening to the audio, where all podcasts are found. All right, let's get straight into it and show some jerseys. You're wearing a guy that I know very well. I love this guy, Wood. So I want you to stand up and we'll talk a little bit about this Dallas Mavericks player.
Yeah, cool. No worries, Robbie. Just a sec.
The Woods are standing up, rocking the number 31 Dallas Mavericks Jason Jet Terry jersey. So, of course, a former Atlanta Hawk. I have Rocky's Hawks jersey on the show before, but that one, Woods, and the matching hat, of course.
I've got the champion 2011 Dallas Mavericks hat with the trophy just underneath the brim. I believe you have the same cap, right?
I do. I've only got about probably 8 caps in the collection, so pretty random I've got that same one, yeah.
And I did it a little bit differently last time with my Kevin Durant jersey, right? And asked you something completely, left field. So I just wanted to honor this 2011 Dallas Mavericks team because, as you said, I know you've worn the Jason Terry jersey before and gone through his accolades, but so I won't go through them again. But this is such a great team. So many veterans at the end of their careers put together at the right place at the right time. What do you remember about that 2011 championship over the Heatles in their first year, right?
Yeah, that's right. They had a great camaraderie, didn't they? Everyone sort of seemed to play well. Yeah, they had the mix of some veterans. They had some younger guys. And I think that was really the time that Dirk sort of showed just how amazing a player he was, right? But they had a lot of great players, obviously. And Tyson Chandler was really important from memory in that championship series as well. And
Jason Kidd.
I think a lot of neutral fans were going for Dallas in that series as well, right, after what Miami sort of did that season there. But, I really enjoyed that team, hence me sort of buying that hat, which I wouldn't normally do for a non-Hawks.
Peja Stojakovic on his last legs. I think Deshaun Stevenson would have been on that team as well, right?
Yeah.
And also, Dirk has been in the country for the last few weeks, touring around, doing various different speaking commitments, and he's spoken a lot about that specific team. Shout out to Chris Anstey, who actually brought him out here, and he's done that with a few other players and organized some sort of motivational speeches and speeches about their careers and stuff, touring around the country, and I believe he's going to bring a few more players out there. It's nice to see them together. They're only teammates for one season in Dallas. So shout out to Jason Terry. Yeah, shout out to
nice. I wish my bank balance is a little bit healthier, and I might have tried to have got to one of those Dirk shows there. I know they're pretty pricey, those sort of things.
Were they?
I think so. And you go there and get something signed, it would have been great to do. But anyway, great that he's obviously a fan of Australia, isn't he? Because he came out here after they lost the championship, I believe, and he was feeling a bit down sort of that year. So no, I like that one, Woods. Nice.
He did catch up with Ryan Brokoff when he was here as well, which is nice to see.
Yeah, that's right. He did too. And he had a good sit down interview with Kane Pittman as well.
Yeah, that was terrific.
You seen that one? That was good, wasn't it? That
terrific.
One? Yeah. So nice one. All right, well, I'll talk about my one. So it's Nick Van Exel Day today, Woods.
Nick the Quick, don't trip.
Someone we both like, and I think, to be honest, most people like this guy, right? Back in the 90s, he was a bit of a cult sort of player there. So, look, hanging behind me is a very, very random Portland Trailblazers white Nike throwback jersey. So, pretty random on that one.
Random, bro. Random.
It's actually a Reebok one. My mistake. It's a Reebok one, so that's even more random there. And a very random number as well, right? I mean, I know you're not the big number sort of guy like I am, but you do not normally see a number 19 there. So, look, I'll just stand up and show you the one I'm wearing, and I'll talk a little bit about Nick the Quick.
Iconic jersey Robbie's wearing. Nick the Quick, number 9, Los Angeles Lakers. Van Exel, champion. Classic jersey there. I was just telling Robbie earlier that I had the yellow one and he's got the purple one, but it's an iconic jersey, I was saying, Robbie.
Hey, Woods, before I talk about this one, I've actually got all my champion jerseys. I think there's about 250 of these champion type jerseys I've got in a wardrobe. The hanger on the wardrobe collapsed the other day. So I heard this really loud noise. I'm like, what is that? I went to the wardrobe, and every one of these 250 jerseys that's on a hanger had basically collapsed and fallen into this cupboard. So I was very, very annoyed and very upset. It was also a really hot day and I had no air conditioning. So I attempted to fix it for about probably 2 hours, I think, on Saturday night. Finally managed just to get the thing back up there. But every morning I've been waking up this week and kind of just opening this cupboard just to make sure they're all still hanging there. So touch wood, that'll continue to last there. But
being a perfectionist and a connoisseur with all your memorabilia, I'm not surprised, bro. And that fan is on right now because I take it your air conditioning is still not fixed. Is that right?
2 more weeks I don't have it. So I do apologise if that fan's annoying for everyone. But if I don't have that on, I'm probably going to be sitting there in a pool of sweat, and that wouldn't be a good look. So nice. Well, look, a little bit about Nick the Quick. So as you said, rocking his purple Lakers champion. So, yeah, look, he played 14 seasons in the NBA after getting drafted by the Lakers at pick 37 in the 93 draft out of Cincinnati. So I think I might have mentioned before when they used to have those Friday night NCAA games on ABC. I remember watching Cincinnati and seeing this guy and just being kind of mesmerised by him straight away, just with his style and everything there. So, Nick the Quick played in the West his entire career, actually. So having stints with the Lakers, Nuggets, Mavericks, Warriors, Blazers, and Spurs. So I thought that was a bit random, playing on all those teams and never playing for...
Did you say Mavericks there as well?
Yeah, Mavericks, Warriors, Blazers, and Spurs. Yeah, so look, his accolades were he was an NBA All-Star in 1998. He was also an All-Rookie second team. And as I sort of mentioned before, someone that certainly had a really big cult following in his career. I think due to probably the flashy way he played. Also, I think a little bit because of his catchy name. What do you reckon, Woods?
Definitely.
It's not a name that I think anyone's ever seen before, and it's not to be confused with the Microsoft Office product as well, of course. But look, anyone that hasn't seen his game, when I was doing the research for this, I actually queued up some YouTube highlights there. Amazing. I mean, if you can get sort of past the standard definition thing that obviously all these highlights are in sort of thing, just some amazing plays. He had that sort of dribble where he'd sort of stop on a dime and sort of hesitate and then drive past and that, and just so flashy around the ring. And I think those left-handers always look good. So he's now 51, Woods. Of course, someone that you and I see all the time, being that he's a Hawks assistant coach. So, yeah, someone that's obviously still sort of relevant there. And, yeah, I think someone I've wanted to sort of rock this double jersey combo for a while. So today's the day. So no bobbleheads, unfortunately, Woods, but, I've got his Blazers jersey there. So I think that might be a rare enough one.
Yeah, just on him, while you're speaking about him, Snoop Dogg, in his song Hoop Dreams, in his song, he raps about Nick Van Exel being one of his heroes and having a poster of him on his wall and things like that. And then you see an interview with on the most recent Lakers Dynasty documentary with Snoop. And Snoop talks about during his playing years, like he used to kick it with Nick, and they used to go back to to his place and do all sorts of things, if you know what I'm saying.
I'm sure.
During his playing days,
yeah, I'm sure as well. And Jay-Z throws his
he does. He does too.
Yeah, as I said, so you have the cult following, not just with the fans, but obviously with all the the famous hip hop stars and.
I think I dropped that verse that would be.
I think you might have.
Crazy in Love before, right?
I'm sure you did a great job of it too.
Yeah, thanks, bro.
Awesome. All right, well, let's get into it. Obviously, this is the part we sort of like doing each year, but we're going to name our All-Star reserve picks. So. For those that sort of weren't sure, the starters were actually named last week. And it's a little bit confusing because all these guys get named, but then they could end up playing on different teams. So still getting a little bit used to the format there. Obviously, it's going to be Team LeBron and Team Giannis again this year. But
can I just say, I don't like that, man. I don't like that. It should be West versus East.
It's a bit weird. I agree.
There's a rich history surrounding that, But anyway, that's another topic.
No, I agree. They just tend just to make all these different changes. And I believe they're picking their rosters like on on game day as well this year, Wood. So, before they've picked it. And so I think it's going to be like a couple of hours they're going to do like that schoolyard sort of pick 'em type thing, but that seems even more strange as well. But in terms of the starters, so the East were Kyrie, Donovan Mitchell, Kevin Durant, Jason Tatum, and Giannis. Look, a pretty strong five there. There could have been consideration for Embiid there, but I think they've sort of got it pretty right there. And obviously we should say as well, it's a bit of a mix of the fan votes and also coaches as well, I believe, vote for these. Again, they probably change all the time. I think that's the way they do it. In the West, it was Curry, Luka, LeBron, Zion, which is probably a bit of a surprise, given he had his usual injuries there, and the Joker. So they're actually going to name the reserves this Friday, Woods, I think, during the telecast on TNT. So what they're going to do is name 7 reserves, East and West. As I said, they may end up playing on different teams depending on what happens with that pick 'em there. But what I thought we'd do, Woods, we might name our 7, plus maybe a couple of snubs for each conference there. I know I had a lot of problems picking the East team there was a lot of guys that I felt was a snub there. So why don't you give me your East reserves and snubs there, Woods, and then I'll go after you.
Yeah, sure. So I'm allowed 2 backcourt players, 3 frontcourt players, and then a couple of miscellaneous ones, correct?
I wasn't that strict with that, to be honest. I kind of just went 7. I think it ended up that way. But yeah, if that's the way you've done it, that's...
All right. So on the East, for starting with the East, I got Tyrese Halliburton, right? Much deserved. James Harden, who I think has had a bit of an underrated season this year, right?
Right.
And then I've gone with Jaylen Brown, Joel Embiid, who I actually thought should have been in the starting lineup. Your boy Julius Randle, right?
Right, so we're 5 for 5 so far. We must say, we haven't sort of compared sort of our teams here. So Julius Randle, great pick. Anyway,
okay, and then I've got Bam Adebayo and Drew Holiday, who always gets overlooked, right? And he's having quietly a great season out in Milwaukee. So I think he deserves some recognition for that, right?
He hasn't played an All-Star game since when he was with Philly, right?
Yeah, I know. Under Doug Collins, I think it was a long time ago now, right?
Long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, so
give me a snubs. Yeah,
so Jalen Brunson had a terrific season. I really thought long and hard about him or your boy Julius Randle. I had to include one of the New York Knicks. And New York's having a decent season, man. So I thought one of those players has to be rewarded. So I thought Julius Randle. Pascal Siakam, he hasn't been very efficient, but he's averaging 25, 8, and 6, right? Yeah. And if he's able to do that for the rest of this year and maintain those averages, he'll be the 10th player in NBA history to do that, right? Which is crazy to think. But Toronto's, in mediocrity. He isn't very efficient with those numbers, so he's a snub just despite putting up those good numbers. Yeah. And then I would have just a little snub here. Kyle Kuzma, man, having a great year, Kyle Kuzma, right? Yeah. And he's just taking from a role player. He's taking his game to another level where he's, the best player on that team, right? Yeah.
He was someone I considered definitely. He was kind of on that next list of a snub for me. Yeah. So, look, I had those first same 5 as you there, Wood. So the 5 that we agreed on were Brown, Embiid, Halliburton, Randle, and Harden. I totally agree with what you said with Harden. I think a lot of people have probably underrated what he's actually done this year. Yeah. I think he's been very good this year.
Very good.
So the 2 that I did different for you. So I had Siakam in my team. He's dropped off a little bit from the way he started, but yeah, I think I don't want to sort of penalise his team as much as they have been a disappointment. And really, I've said it before, gone under the radar. Everyone talks about the Hawks or the Knicks or anything else like that. There was big sort of expectations for Toronto this year, and they've been pretty ordinary. So yeah, I had Siakam, and for my last guy, I'm not going to shock you, am I? I had Ice Trey, right? So I thought about it a lot there. Look, the guy's averaging 27 and 10 Woods. His percentages are down a little bit. I like the way the Hawks have played of late. And look, to be honest, I think he does deserve to make it. Whether he does make it, that's another story there. I thought there was a lot of strong point guards or, little guards in general in the East. So I agree. So my snubs, I actually had 4 snubs there. I took a little bit of a liberty in that extra one. So I had Jalen Brunson as a snub. I would have loved to have got him in there. I really like the way he's playing. He had another amazing game today. So for me, it came down to him and Trey. In terms of Holiday, I sort of had him on that next list with Kyle Kuzma, so not on my immediate snubs. But there was one guy that I'm surprised you didn't have with. I'm not sure if you just overlooked this guy, but what about Darius Garland?
Yeah,
you mentioned him on the snubs. I'm almost certain he will make the team. So I'm going to put it out there now. He will make the team this year.
I don't think he will. And I did consider him. He did miss quite a few games as well. What did he play? I think 34 or 35 out of.
Let's 50. Have a gentleman's bet, Woods, to see whether he makes it. Or, maybe a drink or something on it. I reckon he will make it. But the other ones I had there. Much as I'm not a massive fan of the guy, I had Jimmy Butler on the snub list, so I thought maybe it was fair to have a Miami guy. Obviously, you had Bam in your team. I didn't have Bam on my snub list there. And the other one I had was DeMar DeRozan.
Fair enough.
You could also say similar to Siakam, another team that's been pretty disappointing this year. I think he's putting up really good numbers, very efficient numbers across the board there. So, did you find the East a bit harder to pick than the West as well?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, looking at Darius Garland, man, he's played 44 out of 51 games.
He'll make it.
21.8 points, 8.1 assists, shooting 40% from the three-point land and 45.2% from the field.
Fourth seed. Yeah.
Man, I might have guessed.
I'm getting a free drink from you after Friday when he gets named, right? But
possibly, man. Yeah, he might get selected ahead of Holiday on my team and Trae Young on your team, right?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Totally agree. Well, let's get into the West. I should say before we do the West ones, I actually didn't consider Anthony Davis and Devin Booker for my team there. I think, to be honest, I just missed too many games. I was kind of looking at maybe that 70 to 75% of games played. I know probably you could argue that with Zion, but he's obviously already in the team, so we didn't have to pick him. So that was my rationale for not considering Booker or Davis. But yeah, give me your West All-Star reserves and a couple of snubs as well.
Yeah, sure. So for the reserves, I got SGA, Ja Morant, Domantas Sabonis, yeah. Laurie Markkinen, obviously, you know, have to
agree with all these so far, yeah.
Jaren Jackson Jr., absolutely killing it, man. You know, 16 and 7, 3.5 blocks a game on a team that's doing so well. And then I had Lillard and De'Aaron Fox as my 7. Is that close to yours? Or?
We had one difference, so that's pretty surprising. So I didn't have Jaren Jackson Jr. Look, again, he's probably a good chance, isn't he? I think you could also make that same argument for someone like Aaron Gordon. They've been the best 2 teams in the West there. But, yeah, I'm surprised we were so close to them. I actually thought, putting De'Aaron Fox there was maybe a bit of a surprise there. So, interesting we've done the same. Your boy, SGA, like, absolute lock. He may be the first one chosen on that team, I reckon.
For sure.
And I think, look, having 2 Sacramento Kings is pretty amazing, isn't it, if they do make it? Larry Bird, would you say Larry Bird's a lock to make it?
He's a lock, man. If he's not a lock, come on, man. He's killing it, and his team's doing... They're supposed to be the worst team in the league potentially, and they're in a chance for the play-in, you know, right?
And look, I picked Dame as well. Obviously, had that massive game the other day. Any concerns about their record there, Woods? You know, they're about 3 games under 500 at the time of doing that. So that would probably be the lowest ranked person, maybe along with Siakam, that would make it. But I mean, I hope he does personally. But you just wonder if
I think he'll get in, man. Like, you know, he stayed relatively healthy this year. He's put up good numbers. The team started off really well, actually. Do you know what I mean? And just to fall off lately. They don't have a strong roster, so they're still punching probably above their weight slightly, right?
Yeah,
what I thought they would do, right? So
cool. And what about your snubs for the West before I give mine?
Yeah, so my snubs for the West are Paul George, Aaron Gordon, and Anthony Edwards, right? I mean, and Edwards has started
strongly thought about Aaron Edwards,
He started to take this team and make it his own, you know, after some questionable attitude problems earlier in the season. Since Karl Anthony Towns has left, actually they look a lot better. You know, in fact, Rudy Gobert's playing a lot better. You know, Russell and Edwards are looking like they're coexisting. That's coinciding with Minnesota moving up the Western Conference standings. We'll get into that a little bit later, I'm sure. But I really felt harsh leaving him out, but he was literally on the precipice there. For me, it was between pretty much Jaren Jackson Jr. and Anthony Edwards. And I thought, Jaren Jackson Jr., you got to award him for staying healthy and putting up those numbers.
Funny enough, I didn't even have Jaren Jackson Jr. in my snubs list. He's certainly someone I thought about. I didn't sort of have him. So I'll just recap mine. As I said, 6 of the same 7 as yours, which I'm surprised about. So that being Sabonis, Markkinen, Ja Morant, Dame, SGA, and De'Aaron Fox. So the one that I had instead of Jaren Jackson was I had Paul George making it there. So I think the Clippers are playing pretty good ball. I think he's definitely been their best player. He actually plays more than 2 games a week, unlike the other superstar on that team. So, yeah, I think Paul George is well deserving. I think he probably will make it. I think he's one of those players that I think coaches and everyone else like that will vote in. I had 3 snubs. So 2 of the ones that you had, I had Aaron Gordon and Ant Edwards. Look, Aaron Gordon's numbers don't jump off the charts there, do they? But he's been, certainly
great.
Probably, I'd say the second best player on the best team in the West. Jamal Murray's been a bit up and down there. Really like the way he's played. I think he works great with the Joker there as well. So everything you said with Anthony Edwards, I agree. The other one I had on mine was CJ McCollum. So he was my last sort of snub there.
Injuries as well, man,
Injuries as well, but he has played a majority of games. I think sometimes with CJ, I'd like to see him just fill up the box score a little bit more than he does. You see some games where he might sort of get 25 points and then he'll get 2 rebounds and 2 assists or something like that. I'd like to see him just contribute a little bit more there. But no, that was a good exercise doing that, wasn't it, Woods? I'm surprised how similar we were there. So as I said, we had 1 different in the West and 2 different in the East. And our snubs were pretty similar as well. So I'll be watching with interest on Friday to see what these teams end up. But yeah, as I said, I'm almost positive we'll see Darius Garland named in that team. Yeah, who am I kidding as well? Like, I don't think Fraser's the sort of person that's probably that popular with coaches, so he probably won't make it. Drew Holiday, man, I feel for that guy, right? He probably deserves to make it, and he's certainly the second best player on that team there. We know Boston are going to have 2 players. I just don't know whether he will make it there. One thing about Drew Holiday, Woods, I actually think his defense is dropping off a little bit. I've seen a few games this year where he's been cooked by opposition point guards, like maybe three or four different games that I'm watching this year where he's getting lit up by the other team's point guard, which surprises me there. So obviously he's getting a bit older now, but
for sure,
that was fun doing that. So anyway, probably this is more fun than the actual game part, right? When
definitely
how that's actually going to be. So I look forward to doing
I'll watch all the events, man. Hopefully the dunk contest. Who's in the dunk contest this year? Has that been announced?
I'm not sure. Aaron Gordon said he'd go in it if he got named to the All-Star team, so that would be interesting. Got to love that he wears number 50, by the way, because he thought he should have got 50 in that dunk. That's just such an F. That's great there. So I know they did name the Rising Stars today, and I know Josh Giddey was named in that. And our boy AJ Griffin, I should say, Woods, an AJ Griffin City Edition Hawks jersey arrived in the mail today. So
awesome,
really liking that one. Really nice colours on those City Edition peach ones there. So all right, let's get into some quick hits, All right, I thought we might start off with a little bit of the NBA this week, Wood. So I want to just talk a little bit about the Western Conference there. I've just sort of been thinking how even it is with the teams in the Western Conference. So now we're well over halfway of the season. There's only about 2 wins separating the Kings in 3rd place and the Jazz in 10th place, which is pretty remarkable there. Obviously, we can see the Blazers. And obviously, the Thunder, Blazers, and Lakers are only a couple of wins behind the Jazz as well. So Denver and Memphis have built a really handy lead at the top. But tell me who you think might fill out those spots from 3 to 6 and avoid the play-in tournament when the regular season's done.
Yeah, sure. So I put a lot of thought into this. As you said, it's a huge logjam from Portland and the Lakers at 12 and 13, all the way up to the Kings at 28. It could go anyway. But I just think that there's still a good 30 plus games to go. So there could be a lot of shuffling in positions between now and playoff time. So I've gone with the Warriors to come up to number 3.
Mm-hmm.
The Suns to come up to number 4. Hopefully Devin Booker gets healthy in the back half of the season and they start to get it together. They do have, a lot of pedigree in their team, veterans, and I think they'll figure it out.
A lot of good blokes on that team as well, right?
Who are you speaking about? Anyone in particular?
Mate, half the time.
Jock Landale, right? Jock Landale.
Yeah, Jock Landale. He's a good bloke. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I got the Clippers at 5. They're playing good. I think it must be really frustrating for Coach Tyloo to have this, as I said, science experiment of a team and, guys not playing together. Reggie Jackson's not playing DNP CDs. He was starting in the start of the year. They just need to get that team together, a proper bunch of guys. And I think they're starting to do that, as you spoke about earlier. Kawhi's playing a little bit more. Paul George is playing consistently. So I think they'll find their groove and get that 5th seed. Yeah. And then at number 6, I've got the Pelicans to come back. Zion's coming back. They were as up as high as 2 after 10, 15 games, right? Yeah. And then obviously Brandon Ingram getting injured, Zion Williamson getting injured, CJ getting injured has really, depleted their stocks and they've suffered, having to play a lot of guys from bench roles in the starting lineup and things like that. So I think they'll come and find that 6th spot, and Dallas will probably just fall out, I'd say, into 7.
I like that, Woods. I like you put some time into that. And I agree with most of the stuff you said there. I wanted to ask you as well, I don't want you to give me your 7 to 10 there, but can you see Portland or the Lakers making the play-in this year? Because they're both out of it at the moment, but can you see either of those teams making it?
I can see the Lakers making it, definitely, right? 24 and 28 right now. You look at the Pelicans at 26 and 26. They're going to go up. I'm not sure if the Timberwolves can keep this up, if the Jazz can keep this up.
Yeah.
So I'd probably expect the Lakers to get an 8 or 7 seed, right? 9 or 10 seed.
I'd say they both might replace Utah and Minnesota. I tend to agree with that. I like your theory of New Orleans as well, because look, they're obviously sitting 10th at the moment, 26 and 26, but we've mentioned how close it is. If they get Zion back, I still haven't heard the actual ETA for that, but get him back and start playing good ball, they can definitely move up.
With Zion starting, which is a ridiculous pick, by the way, played 29 games, picked as the starter, right?
Yeah.
Ridiculous, right? Just ridiculous. Okay, that's another story. But he might get replaced into that starting lineup, and there might be a room for one of those snubs we mentioned in the Western Conference.
Who would replace him, Larry Bird or Big Head Sabonis? Who would get in there?
Probably Sabonis, man. He's been there a few years before, and has really put that team on his back. He's now a bona fide star. I wouldn't say a superstar, but three-time NBA All-Star.
Not far off it, is he?
3-time All-Star, I think it would be. At least 2-time.
Could be right.
At least 2-time. Yeah. Right, so.
Really like the way that guy plays as well. He's someone that I probably need to buy his jersey actually next time I'm doing a jersey.
For sure. I've got his dad's jersey.
Oh, nice. Big Arvidas. Nice. Yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it? And it's funny because a lot of people have always sort of thought traditionally that All-Star game is about the halfway mark of the season. Well, we're up to nearly 50 games at the moment. The All-Star game's not for 2.5 weeks or something like that. So teams are going to be up sort of the 55, 60 sort of games bracket there, which is is strange, isn't it? I'm not quite sure. It does seem to be a little bit later than normal. I know they've pushed the Super Bowl back. I know they don't like to sort of interfere with that now. It does seem a bit later. But, yeah, a lot harder to pick than the East. I think the East, you can kind of get a bit of an indication of where things are going. There's a lot of teams already under 500 that are still in playing contention there, but the West is just so tight there. So I appreciate that one there.
And you know what, I'm looking forward to it. That time of the season when the NBL finishes is when you can really focus your attention towards the NBA fully. And it's going to be a really
and NBL 1, of course.
Yeah, of course. Both NBL 1 and NBA. So being able to pay full attention to that it's going to be an exciting run to decide the top 10. So looking forward to it. Yeah,
good stuff, Woods. Well, look, let's finish off this quick hit segment with a little WNBL, right?
Sure.
So, look, I know you were away sort of last week, so you haven't seen probably as much as you'd normally see, but just wanted to sort of mention, we previously said, I think a couple of maybe episodes ago, we thought it would be likely that the champion this season would come out of Melbourne. Just wanted to call out the recent play by both.
Out of Victoria, we said,
We did, sorry, Victoria, I just wanted to talk about the play of Townsville and Perth lately. I think they've shown that it is a legit 5-horse race for the title this year. I mean, Perth have won 7 in a row. Townsville have just strengthened their team again today and playing really good ball at the moment. So just wanted to get your thoughts on Perth there, Woods. They completed an impressive row double this week, beating Bendigo by 4, and following that up on Sunday with a 9-point win over the Boomers without Sammy Whitcomb. Tell me how impressive Perth have been of late and how far do you think this team can go?
I mean, as you said, beating both the Boomers and the Spirit, 2 championship contenders, show that they mean business, right?
Yeah.
And 7 wins on the bounce, as you mentioned. They're the form team of the competition. A great organization with a winning culture. I mean, they went all the way to the finals last year, right? Mm-hmm. And look, this team is going to go as far as their captain, Sammy Whitcomb, takes them. You mentioned her name earlier. I think she was out for one of those games, and they still managed to get the W, correct? Yeah. So, I mean, she's that leader on and off the floor, and to be fair, like, no one would want to play them if they sneak into the playoffs. If they sneak in that top 4, no one would want to be, going up against a team that's got that momentum and having that, strong run heading into the postseason. In fact, they're just 14-9 now, and Townsville are 14-10. So not far off the pace at all, right? 1 game back of Townsville.
7 wins in a row is no joke, right?
No joke. In fact, speaking of Townsville, you just mentioned it. There's some big news coming out of far north Queensland. Am I right, Robbie?
There is. And look, before we get into that, we should say at the time of recording, it's Wednesday, the 1st of February, and we've got a big WNBL game coming up tonight with Townsville playing Perth. So the team's just mentioning there. So that could have real finals implications, that game there. So, the news was official. I think it was, spoken a little bit about yesterday, certainly made official today that Shyla Hill has signed with Townsville, or I should say re-signed and gone back to where she was previously for the rest of the season. So I believe she needs to play a third of these games in order to qualify for the finals, which is going to be 7 games. They've got exactly 7 games left. So she's been cleared to play. She's in Perth at the moment and apparently playing tonight. So huge news, right?
Man, huge. I mean, just 2 weeks ago, we were talking about the debacle at Sydney with the Hills. And for Townsville, so they just parted ways with her, Sydney, obviously, just mutually agreed to part ways, correct?
Yeah, and I believe, look, Shane Hill's still being very quiet. I know there's been a lot of reports him saying, look, he can't answer stuff at the moment. Things are in the hands of, like, lawyers and other things like that. So I'm sure the story will eventually come out here. Clearly, he's not going to be going back. I believe Shelley Gorman will take over the Flames for the rest of the season. But, when do you ever see something like this happening, right? A superstar of the game sort of falling out with the team and then going to a rival team sort of there. So, very interesting, isn't it? Yeah,
very, very interesting. I mean, it's going to help Townsville in their push for a playoff spot. In fact, it says here Townsville 14-10, right? Lynx 14-9, but Townsville are 3rd and Lynx are 5th. That doesn't make sense, does it?
Yeah, not sure of that. I actually thought Perth were a few games down on some of the other teams there, but I'm not sure how exactly that sort of worked out there. But I mean, certainly Townsville's championship odds will be reduced. The odds will be going down a bit after making the signing here. And look, of course, she's someone that knows a lot of the players on that team. Playing there last season, I'm sure she'll work very well with our girl Lauren Nicholson as well, and form a pretty strong sort of combo there. So very excited. It's going to be a really good game tonight. So obviously by the time people listen to this, that game would have already been played. But hopefully it was a good one there, and it certainly adds a lot more spice to this already exciting WNBL season.
Surely, if Perth win today against Townsville, they should jump them on the ladder, right? So
and that'd be huge. That'd be the first time actually being the 4 all season there. So. All right, appreciate that, Woods. Well, let's get on to some NBL. I believe it's like kind of a big round coming up. Is that right? Did I read that right?
Biggest round of the year. We talked about how exciting things are getting in the Western Conference. Doesn't even compared to how exciting things are going to get in the final.
So this is, of course, the last regular season round, round 18. And look, just wanted to ask before we get into this week's round, Woods, again, I know you've been away for a bit, but who sort of impressed you in that round 17, and who would you consider maybe had the most disappointing week last week?
Yeah, I've actually had a chance to watch most of the games, even while I was away in my hotel room. So it was great. Look, Cairns, man, they were locked in for that number 2 seed, right?
Yeah.
Not having to worry about the play-in. And they've dropped 3 out of their last 4 games. Very easy games they could have easily won. They really,
shaky against Brisbane as well, right?
Shaky against Brisbane. Blew it against Adelaide the other night when they were up by 10 going in. They were on a roll. And every time they got up by 10, they lost the lead and Black playing defense. And Taj McCall had one of his hectic turnover games, which you never want to see, right? He's as great as he is. He does have those games. And Shannon Scott's been a bit, he's been missing. So, I mean, they're just very shaky, man. So it pretty much comes down to Cairns having to beat your boys, Perth, and then hoping that New Zealand don't beat both Illawarra and Brisbane.
New Zealand's got a really good percentage already, right? So if they were to finish level, New Zealand's got one of the better percentages. They've had some big wins this year. So, yeah, I agree. That was a really big one for them to drop on Monday against Adelaide, wasn't it? A team that sort of, I guess, is still mathematically a chance. You see all the equations this week, all these different things need to happen. It's not going to happen, let's face it, for them to make it there. But that was obviously your disappointment team. Who sort of impressed you the most for the round and maybe sort of, that you weren't expecting, or maybe that's really locked up a final spot now? Probably the Tasmania for me, I'd say.
Yeah,
despite going 1-1.
I'd say New Zealand have played really strong of late. They had a 4-5 game losing streak, and they were looking at potentially even going into 5th or 6th place. Everything was so tight, but they've really strung together 4 or 5 really good games lately, going into Sydney, winning, and now are challenging to go back to that 2nd spot. So really impressed because they've lacked a few reps. Obviously, they missed a lot of time with everything with the COVID issues in their country, losing, Brown, and they finally got some momentum. And
they're healthy at the right time now, aren't they? All those guys seem to be back and in form, everything like that. BMW's looking good. Brown's had some really good games the last few weeks.
Right on.
He's just consistent every game, isn't he? So they're probably. Probably if I was having to call the final series now, I'd say Sydney against New Zealand. They seem to be the best 2 teams.
Possibly.
But I think you never know with this format now. Well, let's get into this round, Wood. So, as I said, mentioned it's a big round. There's 7 games over 4 days, so a bit of a condensed rounds there. So we'll sort of talk about it a little bit, and maybe while we're sort of talking about these games, we can both sort of make our prediction about who that other team is that will drop out of the 6 there.
You're not going to like what I say.
No, I know who it's going to be. Yeah. Well, look, I should say, in terms of the Wildcats playing Cairns there, the Wildcats do have a pretty good record against Cairns traditionally there. But we saw Wildcats have this last year where they needed that last game to win to make.
I'm saying deja vu, bro. Deja vu here, bro.
You could be right. All right, let's start off. So the first game tomorrow. So there's been actually a few nights off, which is strange with the way it's been lately. But we've got Illawarra against New Zealand there. You can't see New Zealand dropping that one, can you?
No. I mean, the thing is, Illawarra did go into New Zealand and win last time. Yeah. With that half court shot from Tyler Harvey. They might be buoyed a little bit. Sam Froling might be buoyed a little bit. Doing it a little bit for his brother after everything that's going on recently. So they might find his extra little bit of. Justin Robinson's actually re-signed for next year.
That was good news. Good to see that, wasn't it? Hey, I should say as well, Woods, there's one team that's obviously not featured on this slide here, and that's South East Melbourne. They actually completed their regular season last week, which is
15 and 13.
A little bit of a quirk in the system there, isn't it? That they finished there, so they're kind of just waiting back and seeing what happens there. I think they will make it, but all right. So the second game we've got Adelaide against Sydney. So I'll talk about that one. Look, Adelaide's played okay against Sydney. I think in previous games this year, and they've still mathematically a chance, but I think Sydney's too a professional team, and Sydney's got the old doomsday double this weekend, which is a tough way to finish it. We'll talk about that last game of the weekend there against Perth. But I'll say Sydney will be too strong in that game there.
Yep.
Then we've got this big game on Friday night, right? So this is the one for me that's going to be big. So we've got Perth taking on Cairns there. I think if Perth lose this one, I'd say it's curtains for them. I don't expect that they'll probably, They probably beat the Kings despite beating them recently, and we're not sure how many players the Kings will play. I think the Kings don't like Perth, so they'll probably play the full team. Knowing they've got a full week off, I think they'll probably use that as their rest week. But what's your quick tip on that one, Woods, Perth and Cairns?
Could go either way, man. Coin flip. Cairns really, really have something to play for. They want to get that number 2 seed. right? And the only chance they've got of getting that number 2 seed is beating Perth, even though that head-to-head record is terrible. In fact, Perth have blown out Cairns in both games this year.
Yeah.
In Cairns, right? So
you're saying, though, Perth are going to miss out, right? I'm going to say Melbourne, right? That's going to be who I say drop out. I think Perth will drop out.
I think if Perth can win that Cairns game, they'll go through. But
yeah,
the coin flip for me. I'm going to say Perth probably.
I'm going to be watching the games with this calculator, I think, in my hand. I think that's what I need there. Because if they come down, I think there's like 12 points difference between Perth and Melbourne in terms of actual points there. So
whatever you want to call it, Perth have left themselves to beat the number 1 and number 2 seed in the NBL to get into the playoffs. That's not tough. They've made it tough for themselves, man, you know? So yeah.
It would. And also, would you say I'm right, by the way? What's something I've been talking about all year? You don't play these stupid American games and not shoot the ball at the end of the season. This is going to come into play. You know, these crucial shots at the end of games when games are decided, you know, getting a sneaky 3 on the buzzer, getting a sneaky layup on the buzzer. This could be the make or difference between a team making the playoffs. So clearly I was right on that one, right?
Yeah, I think they should change the rule completely. Like, that shouldn't make a difference.
Well, that's it. It's playing to the rule. I agree. If it wasn't a percentage thing, then there'd be an etiquette thing there. But this shows you why you just got to play. No,
I'm with you.
Yeah. All right. So then we've got Illawarra backing up with another home game playing Tassie there. What are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I mean, but Illawarra is going to be tough in both games. I mean, I can't see them winning either against New Zealand or Tasmania, but their last 2 home games of the season, both at home. So they're going to be competitive. But Tasmania should.
That next one, I've got to say, New Zealand's last weekend's like the polar opposite of the Wildcats there. They're playing the bottom 2 teams. So, I'll say New Zealand will win that one pretty comfortably against Brisbane. Brisbane have been playing a little bit better.
Brisbane are playing better and at
home as well. They've got a few people out, though, don't they? Kadee finally missed a game last week. Tanner Krebs has been in and out. That import they got's absolutely terrible. So,
Andrew White.
I don't think we'll be seeing him in the NBL anymore. But all right, so we've got 2 games to go. So Melbourne, who seem to have been off quite a while now, playing against Adelaide. That's still a pretty big game in the grand scheme of things. What's your thoughts on that one?
So if Perth lose both games, right?
Yeah.
And Adelaide win against Sydney, they've mathematically got a chance of making it into the top 6 still if they beat Melbourne, right? So that would be all these permutations have to come. So
I think Adelaide have to have a big win in one of those 2 if they are to win it. So either against Melbourne or against Sydney, they have to have like a 20-point win there. So it seems unlikely, but you never know, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, look, if Adelaide are out of it by that time, I would say, like, you know, play your Kai Sotos, you know, give your younger guys a bit of a run, you know, your Hiram Harrises, etc. And Melbourne should take it out. I mean, either way, I think Melbourne should take it out. Yeah.
No, fair enough. And look, it's almost fitting. The very last game of the season sees our teams going head-to-head there. Look, we saw them play pretty recently on the Friday night game a couple of weeks ago. Perth with a very impressive win in that game there. Really high stakes for this one. I think, you know, Sydney certainly don't have as much to play for. But like I said, given they're going to have a week off with that play-in tournament there, I do expect them to take a full team there and obviously, you know, play pretty competitively there. So I think that's a coin toss game, that one. And, yeah, what an exciting round. I'm sort of almost nervous just even thinking about this, Woods, just to see whether, you know, look, Perth just missed out last year when it was a top 4. They've given them an extra chance and made a top 6 this year. And there's still a chance they might miss out. So, yeah, I mean, I think it all starts from, you know, being a Wildcats fan, but cheering them home on Friday night. But, yeah, really looking forward to all the games in this round. It feels like a lot of these games matter, right?
Almost all of them do.
New Zealand have got the easier games there, so you can maybe sort of cross out those 2, but all the other games are, you know, pretty sort of strong games there. So, yeah, really looking forward to that. And then we'll find out the schedule. I believe there's going to be a FIBA break, I think maybe the 2nd or 3rd week in February there. So I'm not sure exactly how they're going to treat that there, whether they will not have any games. I think it'd be a bit of a shame to lose momentum there, but I'm expecting the NBL playoffs to go probably through to mid-March from what I'm hearing at the moment. So it's going to be a reasonably long series with the 6 teams there. But and what's that ruling, Woods? If you, like, say the Wildcats do finish 6th, right? And they get knocked out in the play-in, right? Will their record show that they made the playoffs or not?
Yes. Liam was saying that. Liam was saying that.
Because they talked about that in the NBA and it doesn't count in the NBA, does it? So the Hawks knocked out Cleveland last year. Cleveland aren't credited with making the playoffs, even though they made the play-in. So interesting. So that would be considered.
I think the NBA should change that too. You know.
Yeah, interesting.
It's
isn't it?
Still the postseason, right? So it still should be considered. In fact, looking at these games, they'll all potentially have some sort of impact on every single one of them. So
I'll be glued to the TV all weekend. So looking forward to that. So I appreciate that, Woods. I bet you're glad you came back for this week and you're not going to miss this
definitely.
last round.
How good is the NBL? How good has the season been, man?
It's been an amazing season. I was maybe a little bit sceptical about the play-in at the start of the year, but it really has added so much more excitement, hasn't it?
Especially this year with so many strong teams that, you know, it's been all these guys are deserving to have a chance, and it's kept interest in the league till the very last round, as we've spoken about.
Wood, super quickly before we get into a bit of a segment that a lot of our viewers like there. What did you think about these NBL award things coming out this week, and so with the news that came out that they named these top 3 in each category before last round? So in such a short season, you sort of, teams like the Wildcats, they had 5 games to play before they named that. And you saw last week, Cotton went off for a 40 and just had one of the best games of the season. Xavier Cook's got a triple-double. Why do they need to do that? Why couldn't they have waited until at least the start of this round, or maybe even the awards are next Tuesday? Why could they not have made the awards, say, next Friday, let this last round play, given it's such a short season, and then make these decisions?
I think our good friend Kane Pittman had a little bit to say about that, right? In the NBA, when you're playing 82 games, you miss out on 2 or 3 games. It's so small, right? But if you're missing, we're playing 2, Ken had 3 games in a round recently. So you might be missing 3 or 4 games if you do it 2 weeks, right? And if you think about that, that's 1/7 of the season, right? 28, 4 games. It's a big chunk of the season, right? So
what about Sam Wardenberg in those 3 games last weekend, right? He just killed it for Cairns there. So, he's someone, maybe had they included him, he might have got over the line for that new award.
Ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. They've got to play in and everything. They can do it at the end and announce it after the play-ins before the finals, before the semi-finals start, right?
Yeah. No, of course. So we'll talk about those award winners once they've been named, but no, I think we're on the
reason they're doing it is because the awards night is, they want everyone potentially to stay around. And I don't know if they're having actual guests at the awards night. Last few years, because of COVID, it's been done with no guests, right? But I think they'll have one of those gala dinners like they used to have, and players from all teams can attend. And I hope they do it that way this year.
Possibly so.
Yeah. And they want some of these guys who are going overseas and stuff, playing in other leagues, to be able to attend. So that's the reason behind it, I would say. Right?
No, fair call. All right, well, let's sort of wrap up the show this week with something we haven't done for a week or 2. Let's get into some classic packs. What do you got for us this week?
Sure thing, man. So I got 91, 92 hoops. Okay.
Awesome. Yep.
I'm saving the 91 hoops for a special episode. That's my favorite.
Special episode next week, right? Yep.
Yes. All right. Oh yes. Okay. First one. All right. The first ever captain of the Charlotte Hornets when they were an expansion franchise. This guy's an underrated player, someone that I've liked. I've worn his jersey on the show before.
Kelly Tripucka, right?
Kelly Tripucka.
Nice. I think we might have got that card from memory in the past.
We got it in the 1991 hoops. Okay, we got it in the one with the silver background. Yeah.
Well, you'll be framing that card there, won't you?
I love Kelly, man. Yeah. And just a little bit of pop quiz here. What's his full name?
That's not Kelly.
Peter Kelly Tripucka.
Peter?
Yeah.
Wow, okay. Nice.
Something I didn't know. Okay. GM of the Bulls after a illustrious playing career. Both him and his brother played in the NBA. He hit the big shot.
John Paxson, right? Yeah.
John Paxson.
He was a good player, that's for sure. He sort of, those whiteys they bring on, whether it was Steve Kerr or John Paxson, Judd Buechler, all those guys.
Kelly Tripucka. Okay. Forward from New York, role player, second round pick. Sorry, for the Cavs, not for New York. Played alongside Brad Doty, Mark Price. We've had his card before. We're not talking about Hot Rod Williams. We're talking about
Chucky Brown.
Chucky Brown.
It's a nice looking card, that one. Yeah, so we know he's got that. He did have the record, I think, before. Obviously, Ish Smith was playing with all those teams.
I think we have pulled this card before at some stage, but this guy was underrated member of the Detroit Pistons. Played for Team USA, represented them at World Championships. In Michael Jordan's eyes, the toughest opponent he's ever gone up against.
Some might say a better player than a GM, right?
Definitely better player than a GM, and just watch Michael Jordan's playground and he'll tell you all about Joe Dumas, right?
Definitely great player. In terms of the GM, for those that don't know, he was responsible for drafting Darko Milicic over the likes of Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh.
Yeah, well, he also traded for Rasheed Wallace at the trade deadline and delivered them a championship, right?
Credit where credit's due. In one of the worst championship series ever, when the scores were like 74 to 72.
Yeah. Okay, this guy was a bits and pieces player till he made it to Indiana. Okay, and he emerged as one of the league's most improved players in the '91 season. Okay, he was a guard, played alongside all those guys. Reggie Miller and Rick Smits and co. Second round pick 48. Went to Baylor University at 6'2". I'm talking about.
So not Vern Fleming.
Okay, he has a very similar name to MCW.
Oh, Michael Williams?
Michael Williams.
I should have got that. I was a big fan of Michael Williams. Yeah, obviously made his name a little bit at Minnesota before he went to Indiana. But yeah, he was a very handy player.
Love this guy from Miami. Had a great rookie year, averaging 12 points a game. Guard forward. Went to University of Minnesota. Stocky body. Number 34. I'm talking about.
Talking Miami, did you say?
Yep, Miami.
Terry Davis?
No. All right.
34.
All right. A Sydney Kings player's got the same surname as him that was recently on that point shaving documentary, you know?
Willie Burton.
Yeah. Willie.
The 50-point club, right?
Yes.
Willie Burton. Yeah. Nice. Didn't mind old Willie Burton back in the day.
Pride Week is all about, you know, in the NBL, we're having Pride Week this week, right? One of the big stories to come out this year in Pride Week is this year in the NBL is an ex-Sydney King and ex-Adelaide 36 now Melbourne United player. His namesake played for the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay?
Jay Humphries.
Jay Humphries, scoring machine as well.
Nice. You know, I'm always going to remember people that wore 24 Woods being that's my favorite.
Number 24, walking bucket. I remember 15.2, 15.3, 11.6 points a game. Coming off the bench a lot of the time, right? So,
nice.
Okay. One of your favorite little guys of all time. Okay, we've pulled his card so many times. You've worn his jersey on the show. Number 10. This is his New Jersey Nets card. Probably
another Darren Blaylock card. Wow.
Second year as a pro. Third year as a pro. Darren O'Shea Blaylock, a.k.a. Mookie Blaylock.
Look at that old jersey as well.
That jersey is off the chains, man.
It's nice, isn't it? Yeah, you don't
your Paddy Mills one is similar to that, isn't it?
It's a little bit similar. Different. That's a bit of a different blue. That one's a bit of a lighter blue. But yeah, we seem to have pulled his cards in nearly every format now, which I'm loving there. So, and who did we trade to get Mookie Woods? Ramil Robinson.
Ramil Robinson. Yeah. We pulled his card the other day as well.
We did. Yeah.
Okay. This guy is, after Larry Bird, in my opinion, arguably one of the greatest white boys ever to play the game.
John Koncak.
No, not John Koncak. All I know is
flat top?
Lee Ellis would loved it if I pulled this card because of his slam dunk in the All-Star game. I'm talking about machine, Tommy Chambers, right?
Chambers, yeah. We're talking, obviously, for those that listen to the sports blokes there, you know, they do a great podcast each week. They talk about their top 5 favorite dunks last week. I was sort of doing a bit of, you know, looking around on YouTube, and that dunk that Tom Chambers does over Mark Jackson's got to be included there. He just hits Jackson and just rises up over the ring. But very solid player, right, Tom Chambers?
Man, unreal player, man. You look at his points he's putting up: 25.3, 20.4, 25.7, 27.2, putting up 27.2 points per game. Imagine how good he would have played in today's fierce athlete. Great stroke. Oh my God, he would have been ridiculous in today's game.
Totally agree.
And he's still looking really good, Tom Chambers is today, right?
For sure.
And you know Lee Ellis would love that one, right?
He would.
Okay, we are talking about the tough guys, from the Portland Trailblazers, right? Played alongside this guy. They called him
Buck?
Yes.
Buck Williams.
I was going to give you a nice clue.
I didn't need another clue there. Look at Buck there with his goggles on. Yeah, he was a fierce sort of inside play. Great rebounder, wasn't he? I think he had a bit of time with the Nets there as well. But yeah, what's his real name? Woods? Is Buck his real name? Or?
Charles Linwood Williams.
Charles Linwood Williams. Okay.
And I want to say this out of line, but Buck is still alive.
Ooh, I'm not sure. We need to check that one. Let's see what Google's telling us there. Buck Williams. Yes, he is still alive.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
You can't kill him off Woods.
Okay, yeah. All right. We're talking about Indiana Pacers. Great coach. Who was the coach for Indiana 91?
91.
He was also head coach of. He coached New York in 86-87 for 20 games, and Indiana in 1991 for 32 games before taking on the job full time this season. Bob Hill.
Blanking on this. Oh, of course. Yeah. Nice.
Okay, we got a Houston Rockets team card.
Does that one get ripped up, or who we got on there first? So we got I can see Mad Max there. I think that might be Buck Johnson, number 1. Kenny the Jet Smith there. Don Shaney, the coach, and Akeem the Dream.
Yes.
I think that's worth keeping that one. Yeah, with the good picture.
That's not a checklist card. Not a checklist card.
Fair enough.
Okay, All-Star card. 6'4" power forward. 6'4", 6'5", absolute beast.
Did he go to Auburn University?
Sure did.
Charles. Rebound.
Barkley.
Yeah, amazing player. Not too bad at practice ones. It's definitely better than some of the more recent ones they've had.
Yeah. Also, Kevin Duckworth. He's the one who passed away, I think.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah.
Nice.
Buck and Duck, those two are together, right?
Duck, yeah. Is that it, is it?
No, I've got the coach of that Blazers team. Who am I talking about? Went on to have a great coaching career.
Rick Adelman?
Yep, sure is. Rick Adelman. Yep.
Nice.
This is the coach's packet, man. Another coach.
Orlando
Magic coach.
Matt Gukas.
Yes.
Nice. At least I'm on
another team card. We got a Miami
what is
team
going
card.
on here? Who we got there? So I can see, what's that? Sherman Douglas. DJ Ronnie Cycley.
Yep.
A bit hard to see some of the other ones there, but some nice tight shorts going on there. This is a bit random with all the coaches and checklist cards. We've had some good players there in between.
Yeah. Okay. 00. I wore his jersey on a previous episode. The Chief. And Matt McQuaid would love this. Robert Parrish.
Yeah, jeez.
Inside stuff. At 38 center, Robert Parrish of the Boston Celtics is the oldest player in the NBA.
So think about that, Woods. He's the same age as what LeBron is now. And people just consider him just this old man that could barely sort of, run and just was, a role player type guy. And you see what LeBron's doing at the same age. It's pretty crazy, isn't it?
Well, you think he did end up playing his last season in 97 with the Bulls? Am I right in saying that?
Yeah,
maybe?
Interesting. Yeah.
So if he was 38 in 92, man, he must have been 43 by the time he finished, man. Okay.
Good effort.
Okay, I just spoke of him. Okay. All-Star card for Buck Williams' running mate.
Kevin Duckworth?
Kevin Duckworth.
Well, I like those All-Star jerseys back in the day too. That was when I actually did the proper East versus West.
And rest in peace to
Big Duck.
To Kevin Duckworth, right?
Sure.
It's actually not the worst pack.
No, it was interesting. It was better than some of those recent ones.
Finally, NBA yearbook class of 78. Okay.
Good year.
With 37 players selected ahead of him in the 1978 draft, this player may not have been expected to have such a big impact in the NBA. He's a really well-known point guard for the Sixers, played alongside Dr. J and Dr. Duncanstein. Nah, I think he was a point guard. Maurice Cheeks.
Oh, yeah, of course he was. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
played for the Hawks as well.
Of course he was. Yeah. And moved into coaching afterwards.
Yeah, didn't go too well in the coaching ranks, but no, certainly a good player. Oh, that was a decent pack. I like that one.
Yeah, interesting. Kind of different, but I didn't mind it.
A trip down memory lane with some of them. I appreciate that, Woods. And definitely looking forward to do a special edition of Classic Packs next week as well. So, all right. Well, look, really appreciate it, Woods. Great to have you back. Certainly missed you last week. Big shout out again to my brother, Matt, for filling in last week. He did a great job. So look, just a reminder, as I mentioned at the start of the show, please make sure you like, rate, and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Just a reminder, we can be followed on Twitter at Throwbacks Hoops, Instagram at throwback.hoops, and email address is throwbackhoopspodcast@gmail.com. Woods, why don't you talk to us where people can find you and stuff?
Thanks to everyone for supporting us on Patreon. We really appreciate it. I've noticed there's been a lot more audio downloads lately, so just jump on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes,
Thanks, guys.
Google Podcasts, wherever, and just download the audio if you don't have time to watch the video show. We appreciate it.
Got to say, Woods, I told you I actually upgraded my car stereo today, and the first thing I did with the Spotify was press the button. I said, play latest Throwback Hoops episodes. That was kind of cool, and that might have got us another listen with that one there. So now we've got a big episode next week. Do we want to tell the audience who it is, or do you want to keep it a secret? What do you reckon? You can make the call on this one.
I think we tell the audience.
All right, let's tell them. All right. So you may mention we just did classic packs then. We've certainly not been shy on who we borrowed that idea from, someone that Woody and I both really admire. in Lee Ellis of the Starters and No Dunks fame there. He's actually off doing his own thing. So Lee's been
and
really
the Basketball
gracious.
Jones, bro.
And Basketball Jones back in the day, of course. And Lee's been really gracious and agreed to come on the show next week. So we're just trying to work out a bit of a time. We know he's obviously in Europe at the moment, trying to find a time that can sort of suit, the three of us there. But we're absolutely thrilled to have Lee on. We're going to certainly talk a little bit about his career, how he got into the game, and all the stuff he did in America, and of course what he's doing now. We're also going to talk a little bit of some Aussies in the NBA, get Lee's opinion on that. And of course, we're going to finish off with a classic pack.
Hell yeah.
The pressure's on you this next week, Woods. Also, you could say it's on me trying to outdo Lee, the walking encyclopedia. So I think I might have a pretty even match.
That's why I was like, man, let me give some clues today. You just jumped in and gave me the answer straight away. I was trying to practice for next week, man.
Okay, true. Well, I just want to shout it out.
Yeah.
No, awesome. Well, look, really enjoyed doing it again. Make sure you get out and support the games this week. We've got a big round of WNBL and an even bigger round of NBL. So get out and support your team, and can't wait to do it all again next week. It's a big peace out from Throwback Hoops Woody.